Greetings, welcome to the Mount Rushmore podcast. My name is Jeff, and as always, the guys to my left and the guys to my right are Michael.
Hello.
And Richard.
Howdy.
Michael and Richard
Technology
are here
screwed us on that one.
to discuss the Mount Rushmore of technology headaches and chew bubblegum. And guess what? They're all out of bubblegum.
No, it's not true. I got some bubblegum left over.
Oh, well, sweet. Okay, cool. All right. Well, in addition to chewing bubblegum loudly and masticating in your ears, Richard has chosen the topic of technology headaches. Explain it.
Well, I believe that this came up. There must have been some sort of like problem I was having with technology, and I am Michael and was bitching about it, and I think the idea came kind of organically from that.
Yeah. I think I was working for a major consumer electronics retailer when I think they began to use the term techno stress.
Oh, okay.
And offering themselves as a solution to that, and their Geek Squad consultants as the people who will get rid of your techno stress. But they didn't say
You can either choose a 60-minute session of techno stress removal or pay for the extra 90 minutes. It's never 90 minutes though. It's like 80 minutes or 75.
Get the Swedish
Swedish
removal.
Yeah.
Stress removal if you can. I'd highly recommend it.
Well, since you chose this topic, why don't we let Michael be the first person to do a thing?
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
This is an oldie but a goodie. The clock setting on the VCR or microwave.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't know why this has become such a pervasive thing in pop culture and society in general, but I think it comes down to technology isn't kind of set in stone, and people have a different way of there's no uniformity, and each company has their own way of setting it up, how you press 5:35 clock start. Wait. Clock 5:35 start. No, wait. Is it 5:30? Okay, it's 5:36 now. Clock 5:36.
Yeah.
Start. No, you don't do anything after that. And I think that people at some point, when the power goes out and you have to do it one way on the VCR, one way on the microwave, one way on your kitchen stovetop on the range, they're just like, fuck it. I am so done with this. I've done this 7 times today, and I'm over. I'm over it. Or there are people that just never did it in the first place and it's always been blinking 12. Mm-hmm. And I think it just comes down to technology that is ultimately the same, but is approached from a different user interface for every brand. And I'm sure even brands within the same brand, it's different. And I think it just becomes so frustrating for people that they're just like, I'm so done. I just don't care. Mm-hmm. I don't care what time it is. I assume it's 12 o'clock all the time.
Right, like in the car. There's no way to get that right ever, it feels like.
Yeah.
Because everyone has something completely a different way to do it.
And we've gotten to a place with our user interfaces on our car as well, where sometimes you can't change it while you're not that you should while you're driving, but everyone tries to do everything while they're driving anyway. And you have to be in park, and it has to... Are you in setup or are you in clock? And why isn't this... Oh, it's daylight savings time. And you're just... I'll just wait 6 months, and eventually it'll go back to what it was, and that's fine as well.
Do you have we used to have just 4 or 5 clocks or things with the time on them, and you kind of just got to know which ones were ahead or behind or which...
Right.
Yeah, and you knew...
Someone look at the time and they'd say, "Oh, it's 11:42." It's like, no, it's not really.
No,
it's
that's
11.
not.
It's 11:28. That one's 12 minutes ahead, or whatever it is.
Why do you think that's? Is it the flashing that kind of is a continual reminder of your inability to conquer technology, and it's basically saying, "Idiot, idiot, idiot."
Yeah, it's your failure reflected back at you, and that's why you drink.
Yeah, it does seem like if at the point of singularity when the machines rise to conquer us. Nobody can say we didn't see this coming. It's like, no, about 30 years that microwave's been flashing.
Well, the great thing is when they do take over, it'll be at different times, so they won't be synced up. Okay, guys, we're all going to go at 1:30.
Yeah.
Wait, is that 1:30 a.m. or p.m.?
And which 1:30? Are we talking about the one that's on the microwave, the one that's on the VCR?
It was funny, the one thing with the car, like my car, I don't I think it does have AM and PM on it, but it is kind of funny that if you're in the car and you didn't know whether it was AM or PM, like you probably shouldn't be driving a car.
That must be like crazy up in like Alaska when you get to the point
Yeah.
where up at like Point Barrow or all the way up north when there is no sunlight, there is no moonlight. It's just a constant like night all
Yeah.
the time that you're just like, whatever.
Yeah, you get a good chunk of sleep and you wake up and you go, I don't know. Could be 2 a.m.
Could be 2 p.m.
Could be 2 p.m. Richard, what's first?
Okay, so my first one is trying to connect your computer to any sort of monitor.
Oh.
What a nightmare this always is. I can never figure out. And of course, this only becomes a problem when you're in a meeting or some sort of like,
oh, yeah, yeah.
or in
Presentation.
some sort of presentation, or God forbid you're doing like some sort of a special event where you need to have a computer hooked up to a big monitor. And you can practice this. I don't care how many times you think you know how to do this. Wait a second. Okay, so I just need to, do I duplicate this monitor? Do I
Yeah.
move it onto
A
here?
mirror.
Why
Yeah.
isn't this mirroring correctly? And wait a second. It is, again, it's something that feels like it should just be like a click this button and make it show up on here. And it doesn't. And I switched to an Apple, or I switched to a Mac like about a year and a half ago. And you would think with the AirPlay, it would be easier. And the AirPlay never seems to work either. Like you don't have the code.
You're not on the network.
You're not on the right network. The thing never works. I just want this to show up on this.
Yeah.
That's all I want it to do. And this should be a very simple thing to do. And the fact that I'm sitting here for 10 minutes and I have to call the IT guy in makes me feel like a complete idiot.
What's infuriating is future science fiction movies where you see technology from 50 years ago that is available today, but what they portray as so easy is like we are never going to get to that ease that Tom Cruise is just throwing screens all over the place with his he's wearing the Nintendo Power Glove and throwing it around and pointing and then turning it and doing the thing. It's like if that was real life, it would just be like image error. It would be like a little red X and he wouldn't know what JPEGs were being thrown around and then
wrong thing would be up at like the wrong screen. No, not that one. Hold on, let me think. Okay, is this screen? Is this 1 or 2?
I would love to see like Minority Report IRL where it's all going wrong and just like wait a minute.
They all say HDMI input.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. I can do this.
Hold on.
No, hold on. Do you want me to call it? No, I got this. I can. The person's dead now. It's Larry and IT's fault.
That is the only downside of what you described is that if you're about to give a presentation, nobody believes anything you say after that because it undermines your your credibility 150%.
So we're here to, we've got this great, sales techniques that we're going to be talking about.
Yeah.
And let me just, okay, hold on a second. I got this. Hold on, guys.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Funny.
Something had to go wrong. Hold on. We'll get
Yeah.
this fixed. And then it's just like, oh.
Yeah.
What you need in that situation is you need just an assistant that does magic. Someone that just comes out for they've got 5 minutes of just good material and just let them go. Be like, oh, hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
We have found a use for prop comedians.
Yeah.
They are to stall whenever you can't get the damn screen to show up properly.
Okay, Michael, your second.
All right,
please.
I'm going to kind of piggyback on what you said, and that is Apple Music,
Oh.
which at some point Apple used to be really good at managing music through iTunes. And then they just, I don't know what they did.
They're selling you on the music service. Is that what it is?
It's the music service. It is the way that it imports your music from different places, from your computer to your iPhone to your iPod. Nobody uses an iPod anymore. I don't know what I said that.
Yeah.
But like the way that you try to sync up your music and how they so desperately want you to use their iCloud service.
Yeah.
And if you don't, nothing just works properly.
Yeah.
So everything that you're taking along with you is this hodgepodge of, I don't know what I have. And I don't know what I have, and I don't know what is mine versus what I'm just kind of renting from them for $15 a month.
Mm-hmm.
It's very strange and very infuriating for a company who promotes itself as this ease of use.
Yeah.
But Apple products don't have this ease of use. They have it has a veneer of ease, but behind it really is you've got to know what to do.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what to do, you're kind of screwed.
I think it's like thinking you're driving the car on Autopia at Disneyland. No, you're on their track. And
Yes.
as long as you're going in the direction they want you to go,
Yes.
you feel like maybe you're driving. You could go faster or slower slightly, but you cannot go off-piste or they direct you back.
Over the years, I've had numerous trouble with this sort of thing. I remember I had trouble right when Emily and I were getting married, and I was making CDs for the wedding. For each table, we had different CDs.
Right.
And I didn't, some songs wouldn't, rip to disc, or I could only do them a certain number of times. And everything was just I don't understand why you're so protective of this thing that I bought.
Right.
This is my music. Let me rip my music to my CD and let me do what I want with it. It was so frustrating. But what is even more frustrating is the lack of help online and the lack of help from my friends on Facebook.
Oh, I was no help to you. I remember you having this problem. I was zero help.
The help that is the worst help is when someone says, well, why don't you just switch to an Android?
Yeah.
And you're just like, that's not my fucking problem. My
Yeah.
problem isn't my problem isn't your preference in device. It's
Yeah.
the problem is I want to fix this thing. And I can't stand that when someone is just so up their own ass about whatever product it is. And it's just like, man, you're just trying to be this weird, diversive. And it's just, I just want to strangle that person through Facebook. That's not a threat. I didn't use any names.
I
You know who you are.
abandoned. I've been doing Spotify for a while, and I kind of abandoned the iTunes thing. And considering the fact that iTunes and the iPod were these devices that helped, I think, wean people from the music pirating services and actually moved people en masse into the MP3 format and carrying their music around in a digital electronic form. Considering how bad they're doing the next part of it with Apple Music, it's kind of sad because they're the ones who walked us into this world.
I think there's part of me, too, that is kind of afraid that I'm going to try Amazon Music or Spotify or Google Music or some other similar service, and I'm just going to go down that same sort of path again and be like, oh, I can't believe I need to start over and just either rebuild things and not know what I had from before and just be like, oh, I'm so depressed now.
Yeah. My CD collection is on a computer that I don't even have in my house anymore. It's in storage in the shed. Every CD I ever bought that I ever burned is all sitting in there. It's really kind of tragic. Richard.
All right. So my second choice is I've got my phone. I need to power this thing. Can I borrow your charger? No, not that kind of charger. I've got a different kind of charger. Why in God's green earth can we not just have one universal phone charger?
Yeah.
It is unbelievable. It's
Yeah.
2018. We were supposed to be moving towards this. Everything was going to be mini USB, if I remember correctly. But I've got this. This is an old LG G5, and it's got the USB-C. So it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't work with the mini USB, which is the one my wife has on her LG G6, or actually, she has a G6. That one works.
Have you tried iPhone? Because they have a ubiquitous,
That's not my problem. Anyway, but that's the thing. Then iPhone's got a separate one, and before that, I had a Samsung one that had this completely different. That had like a USB-C or USB 3.0 plus a regular USB, and you could plug both of them in at once.
Yeah.
And what? No. What's who is the ad wizard who came up with this idea? Who is making money off of it? This is how are people making money off of this? Somehow people are making money off of this.
Is there a world that? So when I think of what we plug we get AC power. None of those. It doesn't matter whether you have a Samsung TV or a Sony TV. The plug that goes in the wall is the same plug.
Essentially, yeah.
Is that what we expect our experience to be like with these other gadgets?
Yeah, you expect that it's a basic thing. You have the AC power. You need to get it from that socket into this device.
Yeah.
There should be one way to do this.
Yeah, the
it shouldn't be
interface is
complex.
The interface should be agnostic.
Yes.
I don't care if it's these holy wars that we have with a PC or a Mac, or the copyright IOs of these different electronic things, but let's let the interface just be agnostic and universal. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's, and I got this phone. I really have liked this phone. I've had it for a while, and I'm loath to kind of trade it in a little bit because I'm used to it now. But at the same time, that's the single most annoying thing about it is the fact that if I come over to one of your guys' places and I need to borrow a phone charger, you're not going to have a phone charger that's going to work for this. I can 100% guarantee you that.
I might. I have like this a tangle of. I have this ball. There's just a ball of wires that somehow is like grown in mass. I think it's living at this point. It just kind of rolls around my apartment and just sucks up other wires until it gets bigger and bigger. And we feed it little bits and pieces from other wires from now and then. Hope it satiates it.
But that's the problem, right? Like the last phone I had a different charger.
Yeah.
So I've still got the chargers laying around from my old phone.
Yeah.
And half the time I go, okay, I think this must work. No, it doesn't work. Fuck.
Okay, so I'm wearing a Fitbit, and this is a newer Fitbit from my last Fitbit, and I was so hesitant to throw away the little charging dongle for my old Fitbit for that exact reason. Like, I don't know when this one's going to come back into style. It's different than what I have now, which is like this clamp thing. But if I throw away that old cord, I'm going to regret it. I don't know how.
Yeah.
It's going to be 3 years from now, but I'm getting so scared of that. I have it at my desk, in my work desk. And it's just one of those things where it's like, they're not going to go back to this.
Mm-hmm.
But what if they go back to this?
What if they do?
What if they do? I spent $7.99 at Amazon on this, and like,
right.
It's a weird feeling to be like scared of this old technology that you don't know if it's ever going to come back. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure I still have like component cables for like my TV that only accepts HDMI now.
Right.
Yeah.
That like, but what if? But what if? What if we're in this future, this like apocalyptic future where like you can only put things together a certain way? I got the cable for that at least.
That's how you can tell how old someone is. Instead of like being a tree and you can cut them in half and you cut the rings, you just see how big their ball of like tangled wires is. Mm-hmm. The bigger it is the older it is. So when you hit 40, it reaches a certain circumference, and then you just kind of go from there.
I do have a 30-pin connector from the middle of the era of the iOS devices, because I remember the original iPod I had a FireWire connector to it, but I haven't gotten rid of the Thunderbolt or the 30-pin yet. But then I look at that and go, what a fucking horrible connector that was, because those things always went out of warranty. Why? Because moisture came in. How? Because you've got a 3-inch size hole in it that 30-pin connector would need to fit in.
And you also have 30 pins. Any one of them could break
and
screw
up
the whole thing. It's
a horrible, horrible interface. But yeah, it seems like the device is complicated enough. Don't make the connector a pain in the ass.
That should be the easiest part of this.
Should
is
be
just
the
plugging
easiest
it
part.
in. And yeah, somehow there's like big power cord is behind all this, and somehow that's how they're making all their money, because you keep having to buy these new power cords all the time.
Yeah,
because they come up with some new standard, USB-Z or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So guys, we are at halftime, and this is our opportunity to introduce you to another world, another dimension, another place that you can encounter the three examples of male masculinity that make up the Richard Manfredi, Michael Winfield, Jeff Hopkins triumvirate that is Mount Rushmore Podcast, and that is social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you search Mount Rushmore Podcast, you'll find us. One place you can really express how you feel about the podcast. It's a place where you can suggest alternate episodes. You can give us some ideas about the choices we should have made on previous episodes. Is Facebook. Go there and express yourself. To help support the podcast further, download, rate, and review episodes on Stitcher and iTunes. We'd love to hear from you, hear what you think. Give us 5 stars. And there are other podcasts out there who are also trying to gain a broader audience and let people know about them. And here's one of them.
Ladies, we all know the best part of the day is when you finally get home and get rid of the one thing you've been dreaming of ditching for hours, your bra. If you're like me, sometimes you don't even make it to the front door. Hi, I'm Erin Whitehead, host of the Braless podcast, where once a week I kick back, relax, and have fun conversations with different guests about all kinds of topics. You can find us on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. Join me on the Braless podcast, Unhooked and Unleashed.
And we want to give something to you, the listener of the Mount Rushmore podcast, and that is a free digital download when you sign up for a free trial from Audible. If you go to audibletrial.com/Rushmore, you can find something you like in the over 180,000 titles that will be there to choose from for your iPhone, Android. It's what the Druids used.
They had a completely different way to connect.
They didn't have a connector. Oh, I gotta wait till Stonehenge is
You
in
can only do it on a
alignment.
full moon.
Yeah, full moon. Kindle or MP3 player. To download your free audiobook trial today, go to audibletrial.com/Rushmore. Again, that's audibletrial.com/Rushmore for your free audiobook. Dudes, we're back. Michael, what's your third?
This is kind of in line with something that you just said, Jeff, and kind of in line
Roots.
with what I was talking about earlier. It's the Plex Media server.
Oh.
This is a thing that I have set up at my house
Uh-huh.
where, well, okay, Richard, last week we were talking about the VCR
Yes.
and tapes.
Mm-hmm.
My stepdad, Morgan, who listens to the show, hi,
Hi,
Morgan, he had hundreds, if not like 1,000 cassettes. Like of every
Wow.
sort of movie. They were all meticulously placed in like hard, clear plastic backing. He kept like a big library of all of them. Eventually, the DVD player came out, and like that became a wash because no one's watched movies on VHS anymore. Something similar happened when before Felix was born.
Were they all of the movie Speed, by the way? Just 1,000 of those. Is he
1,000
that guy?
copies of Speed. You could only watch it once because then it would just burn up. Before Felix was born, we were trying to like save space in our apartment, so I had this grand idea to digitize all of our movies. We had like about 100 movies and box sets of TV series and different things, all get them onto a digital platform so we could just jump onto that one thing and access it, and it would be so easy. This fucking thing is not easy.
No.
Like, burning them and ripping them took hours
Yeah.
and hours of my days and nights. I would get home, I would start ripping one, saving it, come back 24 minutes later, do the next one, and I'd get through a few of them a night. And over the course of several months, I'd eventually save all of these things onto one like server. And like, I just can't. It just never has worked properly. I don't know if I set it up improperly, even though I followed all the directions. Sometimes I can connect to it. Sometimes I can't. Basically, I'm just asking for one of my friends to come over with a beer and just do it for me. But I think also I want to be able to do it myself.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there is a weird, I have to master this technology. I have to understand it so I feel like I've done something good. At the same time, I kind of resent this company for expecting that I could do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of resent them for not expecting me to do it. There's something there that like I want to be able to do this thing, and when I can't do this thing, I'm so disappointed in myself. But then I don't know. I'm also like I'm just so like
You're just mad.
I'm
You're
just-
just mad.
I just want to take a hammer to things.
You know what it is? It's because I can tell you from the Plex thing specifically, because I know when we first cut the cord, I was fielding like sort of, hey guys, we're going to cut the cord. What do we need? And we would get a certain subset of our friends like, we got to get a Plex. And it was like, well, what do I need the Plex for? Well, you got to get it.
Right.
And no one could really fully explain to me exactly what it did and why I needed it.
I think what it comes down to is we just have laptops at home. We don't have like a computer. So like you would have to have your laptop on with all of this stuff on it. But if you have like this Plex server that's just running and it's just connected to the network, I think the way I have it set up is that it's running through a connection on my laptop.
Mm-hmm.
on a library on my laptop, even though all the files are on like this thing. But I don't know how.
It's all in the cloud, bro.
I
It's all
don't
in
know
the
how to
cloud.
get it from the thing to the other thing. And I have some friends that have tried, and they're just like, I don't know.
You know, I think the experience, we're looking for meaning in the experience of owning something and understanding the technology. And when you don't have, what I love about some technology tools is their simplicity. The hammer, it's a technology tool. When you pick it up, it doesn't say must download hammer firmware 3.0 before you can hammer nail 1.2.
Yeah.
It just fucking works like a goddamn fucking hammer.
Right.
And technology never does it. Every time I turn on my PS4, I've got to update. And then I have about...
That's my favorite app on my phone is the update other apps. That's the app that I use the most. Is the one that just
the app store
that
that
just the
updates
app
the
store
apps.
that
Yeah.
updates. I was like, oh my god, I got 7 today. All right,
Sweet.
update all. Watch them go.
Oh my God. Yeah, but I think even just using a tool is supposed to give you some comfort and meaning. And when it just creates chaos in your life, it just feels like it's another thing that is not within your mastery and just creates incredible amounts of tension. I ripped all my box set of SCTV, like all my box sets, ripped everything. It all fucking vanished. I don't know where it went. My Apple TV doesn't see them anymore. Maybe one of a series of the Simpsons DVD box sets. Like, it just kills me.
It's last week I was talking about like Felix watching these Baby Einstein DVDs. Like our Blu-ray player, our DVD player comes up, and then there's this like. It like cycles through different options that you have. Like, you can play Pandora, you can play the actual DVD you put in.
Yeah.
And up at the top, it says like Michael's Plex library. And I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah.
It's just, even the DVD player is mocking me, being like, I can't get there.
Okay. Yeah, that is some kind of like the new Lewis Carroll. It's Through the Looking Glass. If you could find it and get to it, you'd be running around in all your favorite films. Richard.
All right, so my third one, and I can see you've got a Roku remote right there.
Yeah.
I believe here in the studio. Do not ever lose that Roku remote, because you will never be. You will be.
Oh dear.
Screwed, dude. Until you get a new one, because they have on the phone. You can use your phone as a remote. They have the app, which is great. And for a while, I would get to the point where I would just start using this instead of the Roku remote.
Yeah.
And having 2 kids.
Wait, let me come over and use my old
Your
Casio
old-
remote control watch to destroy everything.
Exactly. As we mentioned last week, you can just break everything with your watch. But I have 2 kids. One of them's fairly kind of youngish. So invariably, this remote's getting lost, as all remotes in our house do. They go to the great remote monster in the sky.
Yeah.
And that's fine because you can use your phone. Now, the problem happens, we've had this happen multiple times now, where we've had something happen with our computer, our network on, like our wireless, where we've had to change network names.
Yeah.
And if you change the network name, suddenly the phone remote won't connect to the Roku, because now it doesn't know what network to go on.
Yeah.
And there is no way for you to be able to reprogram this unless you have
The remote.
you need to be able to tell the Roku, okay, the new network name is XT54837, whatever it is. Well, there's no way to do that unless you happen to have the remote.
Oh, okay.
So it's just like this. And you go on these forums and people ask the question. And is there anything more condescending than the person on the online forum? Yeah. Well, maybe you shouldn't have lost it. Did you think about that?
Mm-hmm.
Or, well, everyone knows you can't do that. Why would you think that you could do that? So there's that asshole.
Yeah.
And then there's just this idea that you'll see dozens and dozens and dozens of questions asking for the same thing. And this has been going on. You see it going back for years. And Roku hasn't fixed this problem.
Do you think
and this is a problem that should be easy for Roku to fix? And they should say, oh, wow, this is something that's happening, people. Why don't we just create some sort of like fail-safe so you can go on the computer and be able to, program that, fix it, remotely. Should be a basic fix. But, like, nobody gives a crap enough to be able to do it. And I don't know why.
Hey, that's the Mount Rushmore podcast this week.
Sorry, guys.
Sponsored by Roku, our new sponsor. I didn't tell you guys that.
Whoops.
Oopsie.
Shit. This is our last Roku sponsor. Our first and last
Sorry,
sponsored
guys.
by Roku.
Can you tell that's been...
I already think Roku sounds like a horrible sexual thing that somebody does to you in your first day in a Korean prison or something like
You
that.
got the Roku?
You got that? Sorry.
Gave you the Roku?
This is a good, it's pretty warm in here right
Yeah.
now. It did not start out warm in the recording studio. It is now... Both
Steamed.
Richard and I are we're getting red. My glasses are getting a little steamed. I can't see through them. This is one of our more vigorous therapy sessions with you, Jeff, where we're just getting it all out today.
But why? Why don't they just fix this thing? And then this is like all companies have these things that, well,
This is like Andy Rooney without the comedy part of it.
right? Did you ever notice, why do they call them eyelets? Why do they call the things eyelets on there? It's like the proto, like Jerry Seinfeld. Other companies do this too, where it's like, you'll go on, you see a question on a forum. Well, that's a known problem, but we don't have a solution to it. It's like, well, why don't you have a solution to it? If you know it's a problem, somebody fix it. You have a whole team of people there just to fix these problems. Just fix them.
Yeah. Okay, Michael.
My last one. These goddamn earbuds.
Oh,
Oh my God.
These goddamn earbuds and these wires that are snagging on everything, that are catching on my coffee cup and pulling it over onto the desk and onto my pants. And I guarantee that this happened exactly 4 days ago at work. And I'm pretty active at work. I am up and down a lot.
wait, are the earbuds? Oh, the
wired ones that connect to my phone.
Why don't you just buy some wireless ones?
2 reasons.
Okay.
Reason 1, I want to get those new Apple AirPods, whatever they're called.
Ear lollipops.
The ones that will hang out of your ear.
Yeah.
But I hear that they're going to be updating them pretty soon. So I'm just going to wait until the next generation, because I'm sure it's going to be faster and better.
Mm-hmm.
I often get stuck in this technological gray zone of being in between
The purgatory, yeah.
the purgatory of the previous generation, which might not be as good or they don't have all the bugs worked out, versus the new generation, which are better, but they don't have all the bugs worked out.
Yeah.
And you constantly exist in like this push and pull of, I could just spend $129 and get these things, but the new ones are coming out. They're only $20 more, $149. Even though when the new ones come out, the old ones are going to drop down to $99. Oh, that's a $50 difference now instead of $20 difference. And I don't know what that feeling is where like you want the newest thing because you want it to be the best thing because you're spending so much money on it. But at the same time, you're hesitating to make this decision and you're just like stuck getting these cords caught on the door and you're opening the door and doors aren't just round knobs anymore. They're those hand-hold hooks thing, and the cords get caught around, and they're like my day is just I'm so frustrated by these goddamn things, and I am not listening to music or podcasts at work all day long.
Mm-hmm.
I will not be sitting there in the silence of the AC humming and the inane conversations of people around me. Like, I'd rather be listening to the inane conversations of podcast people and whatever. But it's so weird with technology to feel trapped when you're just like, I just want to fix this thing.
And I can tell you, having bought some wireless earbuds in the past, the Bluetooth ones, for my Android, because I don't have an iPhone. I have an Android.
Okay. I hear that they're really good, the Androids.
Right. The issue is that they have about the battery life of a boombox.
Right.
So you have to constantly keep recharging them, and if you're going to listen to it for more than a few hours, you're not going to be able to listen to it constantly. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So again, they still haven't really fixed the problem. It's sort of like a patch.
We're so we're talking about being tethered. We're tethered to all these things that have batteries. We're tethered to their own personal lives. They have their own personalities. Yeah. But you just have to like live with these things. And I've had an iPhone for I don't know, 5-6 years or whatever, and it has always been a problem.
Yeah.
It's always been like the bane of my existence of just like this thing that gets wadded up in your pocket occasionally, and the wires split, and like I want there to be that future that exists in like the movie Her,
Yeah.
except without like the weird like sexual chemistry
Yeah.
with your phone, but like where things just kind of like there's a little thing in your ear and you just can kind of talk to it normally and it does things and you just listen to music and it's just integrated. But like I'm so sick of it.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of being in like that gray zone too.
I do find much of my stress. You gentlemen have kids, and I imagine that's one of your major priorities. But for me, my main priority is getting everything plugged in and charged up. I feel like at night, I say goodbye and goodnight to 20 different iOS devices and plug in the Apple Watch and slop the iPad.
Do you sing the night song?
Okay, yeah.
Tuck them in.
When do you start to panic when your phone is charging? Like at what battery percentage are you like?
Oh,
me,
shoot.
it's like 72%. It's really way too high. Like I'm sitting there and I'm like, there's only 3/4 of the time left remaining on my phone that can last for another 8 hours without anything. And I'm always like, but let's try to get this back. Back to 100 as fast as I can, and I'm sick. It's a sickness with me.
If I'm in 20%, that's when I start to freak out. But
Yeah.
I notice my wife lives in 5%.
Oh, Emily too.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. Yesterday was Felix's birthday, and she's like, "Oh, my phone's at 18%," and then like we were driving home and her phone died, and I was like,
How do you do that?
she was taking video and pictures and like using it all day, and I had my phone in my pocket all day, and that's why I was at 92% by the time we left. But like, I don't understand.
See, I'm the opposite. I'm constantly at about 35%. Because I'm taking it out and doing stuff, and I'm forgetting to plug it in. Sarah, on the other hand, yesterday said, "Well, I'm at 80%, but that just makes me nervous. So I'm going to bring the battery pack charger, like one of those things, just because." I'm like, "Really? You're at 80% and you're nervous? There's a lot more things in life to get worried about than being at 80% on your phone."
At work, I have a not the plug-in, but I have a wireless charger because my phone can do the wireless charger, which I love. I love that I can just throw my phone on a thing, and it just starts charging while it's sitting there, rather than having to plug something in. And especially now, I have a newer iPhone. You can't plug something in and listen to it at the same time.
Oh.
Because it's through the same lightning connector. I'm talking about fucking. Oh my gosh. You can't like plug it in and then listen to something unless you had the earbuds, which I'd love to get, but I don't want to get them because I want the newer version of them. This is this world, this tension, this constant technological tension that we live in that is
hanging over our lives.
Can you imagine the people that live out in the woods that don't have any of this, that don't give a shit, that don't care, that just go and they have their life that is like doing things versus thinking about what battery percentage is okay for you to charge?
Do you think they just make up some other bullshit to be stressed out?
That is 100% true.
Yeah, I know I would.
My axe isn't sharp enough. Is my axe sharp enough? I don't think I sharpened my axe today. Shit.
Oh, man. Did I plug in the maple syrup tap last night? Okay, Richard.
All right, my last choice for tech headaches, literal headaches.
Wait, what?
Yeah, getting actual headaches from your technology.
Okay.
Which is a real thing.
Okay.
For example, I have a condition called occipital neuralgia, which is a very fancy word for a pinched nerve in my neck that gives me a bad neck ache and a headache that shoots into my eye.
Oh, dear.
And I picked that up a couple of years ago when I was underneath my sink trying to do some plumbing work, and my neck got all crunched up because I was in a tight spot for a long time, and sort of just pinched this nerve, and it's just forever been kind of pinched since.
We want to thank our sponsor, Ace Hardware.
Those assholes at Ace. First and last time.
Do it yourself, Center. Go.
But one of the things I've realized now is that if I'm on my phone for a long period of time, and I'm holding with my neck kind of looking down at it. So if I'm playing a game or if I'm like texting a lot, that can trigger my neck hurting and giving me the whole headache.
Oh.
And it's not just people with occipital neuralgia. That is something where you can give yourself a neck ache and a headache, just a random person, just by glancing down too much at your phone and crimping your neck, basically. Or the idea that we just, as all of us do, we stare at this computer screen that's got this big, bright, shiny light coming at us from a very close distance
Turning my screen
for
down a little bit,
For-
just as you said that.
for
Thanks.
hours and hours. And it has been proven that this will give you eye strain, which can lead to headaches and migraines.
Yeah.
We are so addicted to our technology that it is physically hurting us.
Mm-hmm.
And I still do this. I still look at my phone constantly. I'm still playing games, even though I know it might give me a headache
Yeah.
because
Do you set your phone to like night mode or like warm night mode to kind of?
I have it at night. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do that to try and like wind down from sleep a little bit.
How fucking ridiculous! We live in this world where this
I
is, this
know.
happens all the time. There's a common occurrence that they realize. Oh, our people are using our products too much. Let's try to still make sure they use our products all the time, at
Yeah.
all points of the day. But let's make it a little. It should just shut off at some point. And
It's-
be like,
Yeah.
you're done. Stop. Just don't anymore.
It's the equivalent of a filter on a cigarette.
yeah.
It's still going to kill you, but it's going to take you a little bit longer to be able to do it.
Mm-hmm. I understand that technology, it used to be a device, now it's the platform. It used to be an object, now it's all connective. And now
Right.
my career happens through technology. The hours of 8 and 6 p.m., I do all my work through technology. I can't turn
Right.
that off or I'll get fired.
And what happened if for some reason you had a computer problem, or let's say the network went down in your office,
Mm-hmm.
you would go home, probably, because you couldn't do your job.
They would find a backup network for me.
Well,
to
they
go.
probably specifically you,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I can tell you from if you're in your office and for some reason there's like some sort of like computer network malfunction and the internet goes down,
Yeah.
the whole office freezes.
Oh, sure.
It's like no,
Yeah.
it's capable of doing. I mean,
No, you
there's
can't do
other
the work.
things you can do.
There are
in
those crazy people that like, oh, I'm gonna head to Starbucks to continue working. What? No.
Yeah.
Do
No,
not.
it's
Don't just
Insane.
leave.
Yeah. No,
it's almost like in college when your professor didn't show up, like in the your class is at 9 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
and it's like 9:05 and the professor isn't there. It's 9:07. You're like, okay, I'm giving him 3 more minutes, and then I'm just calling it, and I'm just going, and I cannot be held responsible
Yeah.
for leaving
Yeah.
after 10 minutes. People should do that.
That's
They
a
should
rule.
Just, you just got to go.
Mhm.
Just go.
Do you think people blamed before we're talking about a lot of gadgets that have to do with technology, but a lot of it's computer technology. Before there was like the radio and television, people blamed eye strain and things on actually too much reading of actual books, and
Right.
things like that. So,
Maybe our eyes just aren't made for shit.
yeah,
Is that what you're trying to get at? Maybe
Yeah.
it's just a problem with our eyes are just not biologically made for modern life.
yeah, no, yeah. I think we're not good for staring at things for a long time.
We're supposed to be
This is-
scanning we're supposed to be
For
scanning the
predators.
horizon for predators
Yeah.
and things are going to hunt us and
using
kill
these
us.
fast twitch response muscles to
Right.
defend ourselves against saber-tooth lizards or whatever that is coming at us. So. Okay, fun topic. Thanks, guys, for your very revealing choices. I learned about occipital neuralgia, another completely not real thing that Richard's invented to get my sympathy as a
Thank
judge.
you.
This broadcast brought to you by the Occipital Neuralgia Foundation,
Yeah.
by the way.
So I would like to go with power supply on it's on the phone, pretty much. Was that?
That was a spin-off of
Yeah.
Air Supply, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
and
Was
Power
it-
Station.
Right, they merged and had a band.
Would like to give that a point. And setting the clock, I feel like, is a universal thing. Michael, the Plex Media Server is something that I can kind of relate to, but it's your emotions regarding it, in which I could see your masculinity crumbling.
It gone.
Hey, going.
You know,
Here it is, this video fireplace that you've tried to gather your family around, and the rain keeps dousing it and making you look like less than the provider that you'd like to be.
I am weak.
I'm weak. I'm a weakling. And Richard, I got to give you a point for the occipital neuralgia, because those are big words to make up, and so it's, respect.
Okay, appreciate that. Didn't it sound like something you could have, though?
It,
Sounds like something you should have.
yes, but you would get it on spring break during college or something like that.
Clear that up with a little
Yeah.
penicillin.
Yeah. Okay. This says being the Mount Rushmore. Yeah. Yeah.
I,
I'm Michael.